And China got super extreme over the weekend. And I really wanted to report this on the weekend. I had to wait a couple of days. On November 10th, it comes out that China imposes new video game restrictions. This is for real. Gamers under the age of 18 will be banned from playing online games for more than 90 minutes on weekdays. This is crazy. China has announced drastic curfew measures on children in an attempt to curb video game addiction in the country. Now, granted, as a father, okay, but as a gamer, I'm kind of conflicted on this. As American versus like the Chinese culture, I'm all for doing what it is that you want to do. I'm all for the freedom. At the same time, there is a serious addiction to video games. Some people just don't go outside, and you kind of need to go outside and talk to people every once in a while. But you should also have the freedom to do what it is that you want to do, regardless. China's saying, F you. You guys are kids, and we're your parents, and we're going to tell you what to do. Or, you know, God only knows what the fines are or what the legal ramifications are, how they punish people if they don't follow these rules. But let's look and let's see what the rules are here. Gamers under the age of 18 will be banned from playing online games for more than 90 minutes on weekdays and will be forbidden. I mean, these words are coming from the Asia Times. So, like, when they translate all this and you're seeing the way they're constructing these paragraphs here, you kind of get a feel of what these people have to deal with. They don't know anything else. I'm sure there's a lot of people who are upset about this. And it should be interesting to see if anybody like steps up and gets out of line and says, hey, you know, this isn't cool. But 90 minutes on weekdays and will be forbidden from playing between 10 p.m. and 8 a.m. So from 10 to 8, gamers under the age of 18 cannot play. Okay, as a parent, maybe it's not such a bad thing. Go to bed, kids. It's my turn to play games. On weekends and public holidays, they will be allowed to play up to 3 hours per day. So, I mean, is it, you know, as far as the time's concerned, I mean, they're kids. I mean, that's kind of acceptable. Like, but at the same time, having a government telling you that this has to be the way that it is, and how in the hell are they going to officiate this? They probably have cameras everywhere and can see your every single movement, and then barge in on you with like a cop mob. No, I don't know what they do, but let's see. Official government guidelines outlining the new restrictions were issued by China's General Administration of Press and Publication. That is literally CGAP. That kind of sounds sexual. That acronym does sound a little bit weird. And will be imposed directly through gaming platforms operating in the country. Wow. Okay. A spokesperson for the administration told state-run Xinhua news agency that the measures were designed to protect the physical and mental health of minors. The rules also include limitations on the amount of money children can spend within games, with gamers under 16 years old allowed to spend up to 200 won per month, and those between 16 and 18 able to spend 400 won. This could affect many large corporations wanting to sell as much as they can to these children, and they're very upset now. Capitalism taking a hit. China is the world's second biggest gaming market behind the US, but authorities in the country have repeatedly criticized the negative impact video games can have on young people. Like the 10-cent thing we're talking about. A study in 2015 found that 500 million Chinese citizens suffered from visual impairment, which researchers blamed on the rise of mobile phones and online games. How do you even I don't know, man. There is no scientific consensus that myopia can be caused by video games, but East Asian countries have seen a significant rise in the conditions in recent years. Last year, the World Health Organization recognized video game addiction as a mental health disorder. Internet gaming disorders cause someone to have significant issues with functioning due to the addiction, according to the organization. This is why you should go outside every once in a while, by the way, guys. But you shouldn't have your government force you to. You shouldn't have your government forcing you to do something that you should really do on your own. But interesting that the government's doing this, playing daddy. It is officially characterized by impaired control over gaming, increasing priority given to gaming over other activities to the extent that gaming takes precedence over other interests in daily activities, and continuation or escalation of gaming despite the occurrence of negative consequences. Apparently, China also going after fapping as well. You cannot do that because that's not something that's an extracurricular activity. And gamers everywhere in China groaned. They said, "Oh, that's too bad because I kind of intersperse gaming with fapping from time to time. Is that okay, China?" China saying, "No, you can't fap, and that doesn't count. That doesn't count. Fapping does not count as an extracurricular activity." That's terrible for all the gamers in China. Video game companies have been accused of purposefully making their games more addictive. With Fortnite developer Epic Games, it recently accused of hiring psychologists to make it as addictive as possible. We know the video game industry. We know publishers are trying to do this, but like most intelligent people can walk away, from it. So that's all I'm gonna put down on that regards. Illegal filing claims Epic Games. By the way, Tencent owns, I think, 40% of Tencent is a Chinese company. You can check out the link that I'll provide you guys in this video where I talk about Tencent, which is one of the largest companies in terms of acquiring companies from around the world, and their CEO is in the Chinese government as a congressman there, which is scary. But anyway, we won't get into that. Let's see. Illegal filing claims Epic Games not only put on the market a very, very addictive game, which was also geared towards youth. Epic Games partnered with Chinese gaming giant Tencent. Oh, there show up. Tencent is showing up everywhere. Tencent is becoming a household name here in America. As well, they should be, as they own so many companies in America. This is a Chinese company that continues to buy out American companies, Swedish companies around the world. And the CEO is a Chinese congressman and works in the government. So people should become aware of Tencent. If you're not, look them up. Let's see here. To bring the hugely popular game to China, however, it failed to receive government approval, blah, 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 blah. So they're literally treating video games as a drug. They're it's interesting. China's treating it like it's a narcotic of sorts and kind of limiting kids from playing it. What are going to be the punishments put down? What are the punishments going to be put into effect if you do not follow these things? How are they going to police it? These are all questions that I looked for that I could not find answers to, but I really want to know these answers. So if anybody out there understands what's going on here in China and has a little bit of knowledge on this, please put it down in the comments below. If anybody was watching live, if you know what the actual punishments are and how they're going to enforce this, I find this extremely interesting of a story. We know that China has cameras that have an insane amount of megapixel rate, and they're installed all over Hong Kong. We found this out from the most recent BlizzCon fiasco, and then we found out that the Chinese have these cameras installed that literally can figure out what people's faces in Hong Kong look like under their masks. It's crazy. It's crazy the technology they have. So I'm not quite sure how they're going to enforce it, but because they have this technology with their cameras, it kind of makes me scared if I was living in China that they're literally able to watch you playing the game or somehow monitor your playtime through maybe your ISP. The punishment is decapitation, says it. As funny as that is, it might not be off the table. It might not be off the table, man. But this is the crazy thing about China. And this is why I get scared. Anytime I talked about in the past with the China-Hong Kong stories coming out, and I start to see China kind of becoming stronger and starting to flex a little bit, I do not want to live in a society like this. And anytime that we can kind of stand up collectively and say, stay over there, we don't want your society, we don't want to live the way that you guys live. This is the scary part. As the world becomes more and more populated and people are getting more jammed together and smushed together, there's gonna be some conflicts. There's already some conflicts in China right now where capitalism isn't meshing with their dictatorial style, their communist way of governing their people. Capitalism and that are like oil and water. There's a lot of confliction going on over there in their own country. They might have their own revolution once people start to realize that capitalism might trump their own government. So that should be interesting to watch within the next 10 to 20 years. Perhaps, China's their own worst enemy when it comes to the way they govern themselves. I'm not quite sure what's going to develop in these times, but to see them actually impose restrictions on gaming, right? A government enforcing, could you imagine if your government told you how much you could play games, how long you can watch TV, this is kind of crazy. This is really kind of crazy. It's about the scariest thing. So when I read this, I get scared. And I feel bad for the people of China. Some people would say, oh, your argument, DG, you just want them to become fat and lazy and play games all day. No, I just want them to have the right to. So anyway, let us know what you think down in the comments below, and I will see you guys on the next video.